Bounty hunter who has captured escapee Antoine Massey before says it's only a matter of time before Massey and Derek Groves are caught again.
As Rob Besson reports, with the reward money now increased, dozens of bounty hunters may be looking to cash in.
Antoine Massey is a 33-year-old Louisiana native with a criminal past that law enforcement could hardly believe. By the spring of 2025, he was wanted in multiple jurisdictions, accused of rape and kidnapping in nearby Tammany Parish, and charged in New Orleans with domestic battery and motor vehicle theft. Those who knew him warned of the danger he posed. Bail bondsman Matt Dennis, who had once literally chased Massey down, called him a breakaway artist with a dangerous history. In fact, Dennis put it bluntly, by May 2025, authorities knew Massey all too well. His record included at least 3 prior prison breaks dating back nearly 2 decades, and even cutting off an angle monitor in 2023 to go on the run only to be caught 2 hours later. With that track record, judges had balked at granting him bond. Dennis later explained that Massey's lengthy escape history meant he was no longer a candidate to be released from custody on an electronic ankle monitor if he made bond. In short, there was no easy road for Antoine Massey, only the hard path that lay before him in jail. Once in custody, Massey was held at the Orleans Justice Center, the main New Orleans jail. Despite his violent history, jail officials kept him on the first floor in general population, where inmates had considerable freedom of movement. Even Dennis, normally a tough-on-crime voice, was astonished by those conditions. Matt Dennis, bail bondsman, said, "You're astonished that they keep this level of risk on the first floor of that jail," he said. In other words, Massey was given privileges that many thought he didn't deserve. While awaiting trial on the domestic abuse case from an incident in November 2020 facing the St. Tammany charges, he effectively lived inside the jail with a degree of autonomy. Security cameras watched over the cell blocks, but as we would soon see, not everything was secure enough. The Orleans Justice Center on Perdido Street in New Orleans. Massey and 9 other inmates escaped from this city jail on May 16, 2025. The Orleans Justice Center was a modern intake facility for the city's inmates, big, new, and meant to be safe. Yet just hours into the morning of Friday, May 16, 2025, a glaring security failure unfolded. Antoine Massey and 9 other men enacted an escape plan that had been brewing behind bars. According to video and later witness reports, the inmates began by exploiting a faulty cell door. They yanked open the unmonitored lock and ripped the toilet from its plumbing fixture inside a crowded holding cell. With the toilet out of the way, they created a hole in the wall, one where thick steel bars had already been cut away by an unknown tool. Through that jagged opening, they crawled into the prison service corridors. Finally, they scaled a high fence topped with razor wire, using makeshift blankets as climbing aids, and fled into the night. Surveillance cameras captured the final leap, 10 inmates vaulting off a loading dock near the back of the jail. For a moment, the plan worked flawlessly. The breakout was audacious, and Massey was at the center of it. Inside the breakout, rusted prison bars are a stark reminder of past escapes. Massey was far from the first to exploit weaknesses in jail security, and, as one bondsman noted, his whole history screamed escape. What made this a case particularly chilling was the sheer force and coordination involved. Investigators later learned that Massey threatened the guard to ensure the plan's success. Sterling Williams, a 33-year-old maintenance worker, told police that Massey had menaced him with a weapon unless he turned off the water in the cell block. Williams said Massey threatened to shank him if he didn't comply. With the water shut off, the conspirators could more easily remove fixtures and avoid detection. Massey, as one expert put it, didn't stumble upon this opportunity. This is somebody who worked this and made this happen, likely planning every detail. Within minutes on May 16th, the 10 inmates had vanished. Authorities scrambled, but by dawn, most of the escapees were already a few miles away. Initial panic gave way to a massive manhunt as the Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office and Louisiana State Police launched a citywide dragnet. The rush to recapture. In the following days, law enforcement scored rapid wins. One by one, 8 of the 10 escapees were caught and returned to custody, half a dozen by the next weekend, and more soon after. Rewards went up and crews organized 24/7 task forces. But 2 men remained free, Antoine Massey and another man named Derek Groves, a convicted murderer. By May 23rd, the Attorney General announced new arrests in the conspiracy to aid the escape, but Malone and others were still missing. Authorities warned the fugitives would not stay on the run for long. State Police Colonel Robert Hodges urged the public for tips, noting that it's usually because someone has helped them that escapees get caught. That of $50,000, 0 cents reward, was posted for information on each remaining man. Still, Massey and Groves melted into the sprawl of greater New Orleans, at least for a time. Weeks passed. Then, in early June, Antoine Massey made a desperate move. He surfaced online. In a twist worthy of a crime documentary, a series of videos appeared on social media showing Massey himself, unshaven, defiant but alive, pleading his case.
I'm one of the ones that was let out in GC. What I want to talk about today as far as why I was in Orleans Parish jail. I was in custody for almost 8 months. All right, 6 months, something like that. I was in there for theft of a motor vehicle and domestic abuse involving strangulation. That's where I was in Orleans Parish from. Okay, but before I was in Orleans Parish, I was in a jail called St. Tammany Detention Center. All right, St. Tammany Jail here in St. Tammany Parish. There's 2 different parishes, Orleans and St. Tammany. Okay, today what I want to talk about is that I was on 2nd degree kidnapping, 2nd degree rape, domestic abuse, battery involving strangulation, domestic abuse, battery, violation of protective order, right? On this woman right here, her name is Diamond White. That's her name. This is a district attorney drop form right here. And she's not a child, she's an adult, a full adult. I was dating this woman. This is a legalized affidavit saying all allegations against me is false. All allegations against me is false. I was nowhere around her or none of that during the timing of the date, which was November the 10th of 2024. Okay, so I was in St. Tammany, right? And I was on a regular domestic charge, right? So they put a parole hold on me because I was on a domestic charge. So with that being said is that once that occurred, the charges were refused or whatever, they shipped me to Orleans Parish where I had no open charges. It was the theft of a motor vehicle and the domestic abuse, battery, involving strangulation. So once I got in Orleans Parish jail, all right, I had from the district attorney's office, this woman who they say that I initially raped in another parish, in Orleans Parish, it's the same woman. It's not different females, it's the same grown woman, not a child, a grown woman. Okay, she did the same thing in Orleans Parish, right? Correct. I'm about to show you how the system is corrupted. Okay, she did this, right? Saying all allegations against me is false. And she even saying it, you know, she let her know the truth that I never did this to her. I never hit her. I was nowhere around her, nothing. She got mad and thought that I was dealing with another woman. That's why she did what she did to me. You know what I'm saying? Another thing too, once I got into Orleans Parish, I was there for like a month or something like that. Okay, a lot went on as that time progressed. Okay, if you was an innocent person and you know the judges and DA know that this person is saying that all the charges that you're on that you did not do, why would you still in jail? Louisiana have the highest incarceration rate in the world for putting black people away. Yes, at the end of the day, in my younger life, I'm not gonna lie, I was causing problems. I was young. My daddy got killed when I was 7 years old. My mom had to raise 4 children by herself, so I had to find a way to try to help my mother. You feel what I'm saying? But as time went on, the person that I once was, I'm not that person today. That is not who I am. I have a 3-year-old son. I have an 18-year-old daughter that graduated yesterday, supposed to be. At the end of the day, that people don't understand that they see that I'm armed and dangerous. I have a heart. People that know me know that at the end of the day, I am a good person. So I'm asking for help from the world, from Meek Mills, Lil Wayne, Young Boy, Donald Trump, I'm asking for these people. I couldn't even get a lawyer. I couldn't even afford a lawyer to prove my innocence while I was in Tammany Parish jail. They said that I broke out. I didn't break out. I was let out. My name is Antoine Massey. The guy who said that I threatened him with a shank, the maintenance guy, how could I threaten you with a shank? If you can't come around me, you're a maintenance. You cannot come on the tills without a deputy being behind you. Because if they just let you on the till, you could be persuaded to bring drugs or anything like that, that nature. So how can I threaten you to kill you? And why you didn't notify the people, the police, that if I did threaten you, you never did that. Like, you flat out lied on me. Sterling flat out lied on me. And I want to let the media know that from the straight tattoos in my face and things of that nature, of course they're going to believe Sterling. You know what I'm saying? I never told Sterling nothing. I'm willing to take a lie detector test and everything behind that. But that's another subject. Orleans Parish is one of the corruptedest jails. That in St. Tammany Parish is the corruptedest jails in the state of Louisiana. Why was I even incarcerated with a woman saying that this never happened? This is this woman's name. This is the charge, domestic abuse filiation. This is about the shit in St. Tammany. Why was I in Orleans Parish? Why was I even in jail? That's what I'm trying to show y'all. That's why I left the jail. And they have a lot more brothers that's innocent, just like me, that's trying to prove their innocence. That's why they ran. Jason Williams, the sheriff, Susan Hudson, these people are corrupted.
These clips were posted to an Instagram account from an abandoned house on New Orleans' 7th Ward. Relatives of Massey tipped off police when they recognized the building from the footage from the drug deal that Louisiana State Police raided the house after dark on Monday, June 2nd. But Massey was long gone. They did recover clothing they believe he wore in the videos, confirming the fugitive had been hiding in the city he once eluded. In the videos, Massey spoke directly to his audience. He insisted he was innocent of the crimes that landed him in jail, and bizarrely claimed he had been let out, not broken out, of the Orleans Parish jail. Antoine Massey Instagram video, I was let out. He said, I'm one of the ones that was let out Orleans Parish jail where they said I escaped, right? He demanded help from anyone who would listen, even promising to plead his case to President Trump and New Orleans rapper Lil Wayne. Massey displayed paperwork he claimed proved his accuser's story was false, and he painted himself as a victim of a setup, but the reaction was mostly scorn. Massey's appeals did little to undermine a warrant out for his head. Authorities and commentators pointed out that ranting on camera rarely helps a fugitive's case. Former FBI agent Rob D'Amico noted on the air that Massey's viral message isn't going to do him any favors. The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office publicly scoffed at his claims. Sheriff Susan Hudson urged Massey to surrender, emphasizing that cooperating with law enforcement is in his best interest and may help avoid additional charges. Even Massey's own family pleaded with him. In one video segment obtained by local media, a woman identified as Massey's mother begged her son to end the charade and come in. Massey's mother: "We have heard you, baby. God has heard your plea. You have made your point. Now listen to me, turn yourself in." By mid-June, the manhunt was still active. Massey's screenshots had circulated widely, alerting tipsters everywhere. Social media became a boomerang. The videos that Massey thought would help him turned up new leads for police. Every day, authorities worked through every piece of information, from unconfirmed sightings to tip lines. And behind the scenes, the experts kept chalking up his escape as a stunning security failure. Video analysts pointed to the gunshot of opportunity, the unlocked cell door, and inmate rights groups lamented that lethal risks were once again quietly shouldered by already overburdened jail staff. BGR, a nonprofit watchdog, wrote in a scathing June report that public outrage over this escape was a clear call for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office and the city of New Orleans to squarely face chronic problems plaguing the jail. In other words, the story of Antoine Massey became about more than one man on the run. It was also about a system stretched thin, from outdated doors and cameras to long smoldering tensions between City Hall and the Sheriff's Department. Massey's escape exposed how those tensions could be lethal. For now, Antoine Massey remains one of the most wanted men in Louisiana. Weeks after his breakout, law enforcement still lists him as active and armed. Derrick Rose, the only other escapee still free, is the subject of a similarly intense search. Rewards have been raised, and police hold out hope that someone somewhere will recognize him and call it in. Massey's name has become synonymous with brazen defiance. Many viewers have seen his face and tattoos in those videos, but no one knows where he sleeps at night. His next move is anyone's guess. One thing is certain: every day that he evades capture is a day that questions loom over the Orleans Justice Center and the local justice system. And every day law enforcement reminds him of what's at stake. As of this moment, Massey's whereabouts are unknown. The city that failed to cage him is still hunting him down, and whether justice will be served soon remains to be seen.